If there is something we've determined so far without a hint of doubt, is that there are some weird people out there. People who would stop at nothing to prove that the human mind can sometimes take unexpected wild turns. But nothing is crazier than suing your own mother. The person who not only conceived you but raised you. The only woman who would probably never turn against you in this ever-changing world. But such is the story of a guy called Jonathanleeriches. This guy decided it was cool to start suing everyone around him as soon as he could talk, even dead people. Not cool, John. We're here to tell you all about it, and I promise you'll be shocked at some of the people this guy took to court. When your last name is synonymous with wealth and luxury, it's normal to try to live up to it. Normal people work hard to earn promotions or invent something. Anything that will make you money without the world thinking you've lost your mind. But Jonathan took a road that was quite peculiar. He decided to make his name synonymous with legal battles through his never-ending appetite for lawsuits. Jonathan began his legal conquests by suing an unlikely defendant, his own mother. He claimed she hadn't taken proper care of him and caused him a lot of distress while growing up. Believe it or not, the court ruled in his favor and ordered that he be compensated a cool $12,000. The money sadly came from his mother's pockets, and this victory sparked a fire in Jonathan. The taste of victory seemed to fuel his desire for more legal battles. Over the course of the early 20th century, he went on to sue his friends, neighbors, and even his own relatives. If you're a single lady thinking it was a good idea to date or even get married to this guy due to the money he was acquiring from these lawsuits, then you're wrong. John went on to sue his own fiancée, claiming she hurt my feelings and violated my civil rights.
Damn!
He had finally hacked the winning algorithm in the legal system, and now he had nobody to hold him back. So he decided to step up his game by taking on larger organizations. He sued police departments, judges, and even high-profile companies for petty and nonsensical reasons. But perhaps the most audacious of all his legal endeavors was his decision to sue none other than...
Wait for it. Here it comes. Almost there.
Former President George Bush. In the lawsuit, he stated that George Bush told me he used Blackwater to swindle the Iranians out of their nuclear weapons in exchange for 10 tons of hummus and 1 ton of Singapore street noodles. Sounds absurd, right? Well, it was, and he lost the case. The total tally of his legal battles is more than 5,000 civil and criminal cases in federal, state, and local courts. In the lawsuits, which he either spawned or intervened, he appeared as either a plaintiff or third party. There's no denying it, Jonathanleeriches is in a league of his own when it comes to litigation. As you would expect, this behavior earned him a spot in the Guinness World Book of Records as the most litigious man in history. And you definitely know what happened next. Sued them. Yes, you heard that right. The man went ahead and took a shot at the Guinness World Records, claiming they had infringed on his personal life by listing him without his permission. He filed for an injunction against the record-keeping giant, arguing that his personal life had no place in their pages. The Guinness World Records, however, had a different take on the situation. Sarah Wilcox, a spokeswoman for Guinness, made it clear that there was no such listing. She stated, "Most litigious man is not something Guinness World Records has ever monitored as a record category." It seems that Riches was tilting at windmills, so to speak. And what happened to this case? Well, in line with the majority of his filings, this one too was dismissed. The court found no merit in his claim, and the case was thrown out. Despite this setback, his name did find its way into the Guinness Book, but not for the reasons he might have hoped for. But even a dismissal couldn't stop Jonathan from continuing his litigious lifestyle. He persisted on his path, undeterred by the rulings of the court. Now this might sound preposterous, but John even took a hit at the one and only Adolf Hitler. Crazy, right? He once filed a lawsuit against the infamous dictator who hasn't been around for over 7 decades. As this wasn't enough, he also sued Plato, the ancient philosopher, a person we only read about in historical text. Talk about having no respect for the dead.
Hey y'all, come look at this.
When he got tired of people, he decided to move on to objects and sued the Eiffel Tower, a monument, an inanimate object of our modern world. He claimed the iconic structure was somehow involved in a conspiracy against him, and unsurprisingly, these cases were dismissed. but they certainly added to his infamy and the growing list of his ludicrous lawsuits. These absurd cases were more than just a spectacle, as brought in a considerable amount of money. Over the years, John managed to amass around $8 million in damages from his lawsuits. It's a staggering figure, considering the outrageous nature of his legal battles. The more absurd the lawsuit, the more Jonathan seemed to enjoy it. His love for bizarre litigation made him a legend, earning him nicknames such as Tsunami, Superman, and the Duke of Lawsuits. Since his notoriety attracted the spotlight, he soon found himself on the guest seat of a popular TV show. The host posed a candid question. "Jonathan, what is your reason for doing all this?" The question hung in the air for some time, then John did something weird. He laughed, and without uttering a word, he rose from his seat and walked out, leaving behind a stunned silence. You already know how this goes by now, because John's story didn't end here. In fact, it was far from over. True to his nature, he launched yet another lawsuit against the TV channel itself. He claimed they had dishonored him and demanded compensation. The court, well accustomed to his antics by now, granted him his claim. And just like that, John was paid $50,000 by the channel. This guy really is a lot of work. Now we get to the good part. Little did he know that his end was watching him from around the corner. Authorities were finally tired of his deception tactics, and they had to bring him down. A few years later, according to court documents filed by the Department of Justice, John was arrested in Holiday, Florida, for wire fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, and computer hacking. He was also charged with using false identities to obtain money and property by means of false or fraudulent pretenses. The court sentenced him to a whopping 10 years in federal prison, where he'd pay for his mistakes. While in there, he got an interview with These Times newspaper and got a chance to explain himself. He claimed that he cares nothing for material possessions and that he knows his suits are bullshit. He insisted that he is neither nor detached from reality. Okay, stop right there, John. Just stop it, you poorly baked donut. So why did you do all this if not for the money? You know what? I don't even care anymore. I'm not paid enough for this bullshit. Please remember to subscribe, guys. Sticky out.